Hello, all you wonderful second graders. My name is Wendy, and I'm so excited to be able to talk to you about my instrument today. How many of you have seen this instrument before or know what it is? If you said the flute, you'd be right. How many of you think this is a high instrument? And how many of you think that this is a low instrument? Well, I'm going to play my lowest note and then my highest note for you, and we'll see. Here's my lowest note. And here's my highest note. I'd say this was a high instrument. You can also tell if an instrument is going to be high or low depending on the size. Smaller instruments are higher, bigger instruments are lower, and this is a smaller instrument. Did any of you notice how I got my sound? I'll come a little closer and show you. So in order to have a sound, you have to have a vibration. And so I'm doing something to create the vibration. Look again. I'm blowing across this blowhole. By blowing across the blowhole, my air hits the opposite side and it sets up a vibration in this tube. If I just blew into the hole, look what happens. No musical sound, no vibration. So I have to blow across it. If any of you have ever taken a water bottle or a soda bottle and blown across the top and gotten a sound, it's very similar to getting the sound on the flute. All these buttons on my flute, as I do them in different combinations, what they do is they work together to make this tube either longer or shorter. And if I have all of these keys closed, that's when I get my lowest note, because it makes the tube very long. As I pick up fingers, I get higher notes because these holes that are cut in here are open and it makes the tube shorter. So that's how I get my sound and how I get the different notes. The flute is one of the highest members of the woodwind group of instruments. But that might seem a little strange to you because is the flute made out of wood? No, it's not. However, a long time ago, when they were creating orchestras and were putting instruments into groups, the flute was made out of wood. So it went into that group of instruments. Some flutes today are still made out of wood, but most of them are made out of metal. So gold, silver, platinum, different metals, but it's still a member of the woodwind family. I love to play the flute. I love the way it sounds. I love playing music with my friends, and I love all the different kinds of pieces that composers write for the flute. So I'm going to play a couple of pieces for you that shows you some of the things that a composer might write for the instrument. Composers like to write bird music for the flute. So I'm going to play a bird piece by a composer named Vivaldi. The piece was written over 300 years ago. And he thought that the music sounded like the goldfinch. So this is from the Goldfinch Concerto by Vivaldi. Sometimes I get to play the flute in some interesting and fun ways. And so I'm going to do a little bit of a rock and roll piece for you where you're going to hear me saying syllables in the flute which makes it sound a little like a percussion instrument, and also singing and playing at the same time, which gives it kind of a little bit of a rock and roll or guitar feel. So this is a little bit of a rock and roll piece. So that's a little bit of the kind of music that I get to play. One of the other really great things about being a musician is getting to play music with your friends. And I had mentioned that earlier as one of my favorite things about playing the flute. And when you're making music with your friends, it's like you're on a team or you're working as a team. A little bit like when you do small groups in your classrooms. And when we're working as a team, we have to make sure that we're all working together. So we take turns being a leader. We always try to do our best and pay attention when we are working together so that we can make the most beautiful music together that we possibly can. So thank you so much for listening and your attention and hearing about my beautiful instrument, the flute. Bye!